All right, Shalom. Before I continue with this lesson, I want to start off with giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. I'm the brother lawyer, and I teach the Great Millstone National Camp. Come back with a quick lesson. In this lesson, I don't have a title as of right now, but this is a documentary. It's called The Face of Hate in American History X, right? And of course, these Edomites are Nazi, what they call neo-Nazis or whatever, which the truth about Germany is unknown, but is known to the Israelites, and actually is known to Europe. And I'm talking about dealing with, this Elder Malcolm's topic, but it's one of my favorite topics. Also dealing with how the actual Germans were Negroes. And also, too, you had black so-called Negroes that were Nazis during the time of Nazi Germany. They were officers and so on and so forth. And matter of fact, let me see if I can find this photo, because it was a photo years ago floating around on the internet of a black Nazi officer. All right, so give me 1 second. Yeah, so this is the photo that I was talking about. And, Salaki, I said officer, but it could be a regular soldier. But, Jakes or Israelites are known for, moving up the ranks when it comes to, serving in different heathen militaries. But anyway, so going right back to the video. Hope it don't. Okay, I was going to switch over. So yeah, going back to this video, that's what really sparked me doing this lesson, so to speak. So I'm going to be not going over, damn. I'm going to be moving around a little bit like I normally do. So that's why I don't have a topic, or not a topic. That's why I don't have a lesson name, for the lesson. So let's go right into it. And actually, some more things I want to pull up. So this is from the book Nature Knows No Color Line. All right. And as you see, these are the so-called black coat of arms Negroes in coat of arms of noble families. It says German families with names of Negro origin. And the majority of names today are of Negro origin. The Smiths, these different last names that you have that, we were taught they were actually slave owner names. Well, going back into Europe was ran by dark-skinned people before the Edomites came and took over. And also, too, the sons of Japhet, which were not Japhet. The sons of Japhet, they were their land is Europe. But of course, Jake begun to come into power, and during the Dark Ages, they call it medieval times, and that's when we had ruled. We ruled for a period of 1,000 years or a little bit more. I believe Elder Tahar, Apostle Tahar, he stated that it was a long time. So that's where you get your Scots, your French. We ruled all them different areas. All right. So anyway, let me go into something else I wanted to get. We're gonna go into what Benjamin Franklin has stated. Let's see, real quick. Let's see. So I typed in the Germans are swarthy. This says letters from Benjamin Franklin to Peter Collinson, 1753. All right, and it says the American history. Salaki, teaching American history. All right, it says by Benjamin Franklin. Now we're gonna go down. All right, so I don't want to make this too long. English manufacturers bring with them. I'm gonna start right here. It says when. All right, it says so. When I considered that the English are the offspring of Germans, that the climate they live in is much of the same temperature, when I can see nothing in nature that should create this difference, I am apt to suspect it must arise from institution. It says, and I have sometimes doubted whether the laws particular to England, which compel the rich to maintain the poor, have not given the latter a dependence that very much lessens the care of providing against the wants of old age. Now I'm gonna keep going. Now he said, right here, the Germans, the English are offsprings of the Germans. About to see what they're talking about. So let's keep going down. Let's get to the main point. And I haven't read these parts of the letter. I'm trying to find the main point where he said that the French, the Germans are all Negroes. I'm trying to get to the main point because I'm not about to read all this. Damn sure I can do that. Damn, where is it? You know what? Let me go back. Damn, it was right here in front of my face. So right here, it says Columbia.edu, Franklin's observation. So right here, it says in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also, which they're dark skinned, like how in the book Nature Knows No Color Line, where it talks about how, we ruled in Europe. That's where you get the like I said in Russia, that's where you get the Russian icons from. The paintings of the the Messiah being so called black, Yahushua being so called black, the angels, the disciples. That's true. All right, and it says, I'm gonna finish reading this out and get some scriptures. It says, as are the Germans also, the Saxons only accepted, which the Saxons, the word, Anglo-Saxons means angelic sons of Isaac. Who are the sons of Isaac? Of course, he had Jacob and Esau, but the angelic sons are the Jacobites, the sons of Jacob. We were the chosen lineage. And it says, who with the English make the principal body of white people on the face of the earth, I could wish their numbers were increased. Talking about the white race, so the Edomites. And they wasn't called white at their time. They didn't start calling themselves white until 1681. I believe 1681 in Virginia. They're Edomites, which we know a lot of Israelites look like them today because what? We ruled in Europe, laying with white women. The kids would come out light skinned. Guess what would happen? Those kids would lay with white women. So what would you have within 2 generations? You would have Israelites that look like Edomites, and vice versa. During the time of, hardcore slavery, what happened? When Esau was in power, he raped Israelite women. So what would the baby still come out looking like? So-called black. So you have a lot of chocolate Edomites running around today. Black only Israelites. Now let's go into, because also in that video, of course, they shooting guns and all that shit, and also too Swarthy. AI didn't want to give me that, but anyway, this is something from Reddit. Of course, a lot of Edomites on these sites and other crazy shit is on these sites. But anyway, the definition of swarthy, because that's all throughout this book, tawny and swarthy, which means dark skin. Swarthy means dark complected, and tawny is a lighter shade. If I'm not mistaken. So right here it says they calling someone dark, black, or swarthy have the same meaning when you open it up. Have me going to Reddit and not open it up. It says I stumbled across the memoir book from a Scottish spy named John Mackey. During the late 1600s, he described as a good. I gotta open it. I don't want to have me go off into something else. Described as a good half of many counts, dukes, earls, and even King Charles II as being brown, dark, swarthy, or black, and that's in this book. Nature knows no color line because the word Scot means black. So Scotland, or even Dublin, it means dark. The city of the darks or the blacks. So yeah, it says yes. This example seems to be saying that he's comparatively dark-skinned / haired, and so that's a cut. So they idolizing something that they really have no understanding about. So anyway, let's go into the scriptures real quick. Let's go into Psalms 49, and I'm gonna get 11 because they're going down. They're in with and how they're going down, because you got to have little bullshit parties like that. A little white supremacy. Why you got to have white supremacy? If y'all were the majority of people, y'all not the majority. Y'all the real minority. Yeah, that's why Benjamin Franklin said that he wished the numbers would increase. Y'all not even producing like that. And the ones of y'all that are producing, I ain't gonna say that they Jake, because the Lord said be fruitful and multiply. But I ain't gonna say that they Jake. I ain't gonna say that they Edomites. But ultimately, if they Edomites, they're gonna be destroyed. They're going down. But Jake, we're known for being populous. All right. So it says their inward thoughts that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own name. So when they go in and conquer, they name themselves after the land that they had taken over. So Europe, when they came into Europe, pushed Jake out and pushed out, Japhet, they became the Greeks, the Romans. Now they're the Britons, the Spaniards, the French. So that's what they did. And they think they're going to continue in that stead? Hell no. Their time is up. Let's go to Micah 2. It says, in 1, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. And ultimately, that's the elite. And it trickles down to the lower level Edomites. It says, when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of the hand. So they wake up thinking about evil, practicing evil, how they can destroy the Israelites. How they can get over. How they can have their NWO to flourish. It says they covet fields and take them by houses, take them by violence in houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house and even a man in his heritage. And really they're oppressing us, so-called Black Latinos, Native Americans, and Hispanics. We oppressed all the time. And, now it's trickling down to these other nations. And they're hating the American Edomites. America is vastly hated, or what's the word for it? Widely hated, or greatly hated. Damn. and this constant oppression coming from this devil, this deceiver, because they are deceivers. Let me see, Salaki. Let's go to Job 13:4. It says, "But ye are forgers of lies. You are all physicians of no value." And we use that going into, these doctors and so on and so forth. Yeah, they're physicians of no value. And that's really, why, side note, you don't really want to go to a doctor, because they selling you a dream. They don't give you anything that's going to heal you. And I was saying that to somebody at work, and they was like, yeah, they noticed that. They're not going to cure you. A physician is actually supposed to cure you. Yahweh Shai, he's known as the physician, the healer. He will come with healing in his wings. They that behold don't need a physician. We need a physician. And he's going to come and heal us. He's going to fix our situation. But these doctors out here, they ain't fixing nothing. They fixing to get them pockets fat off of you. Off of your continuous pain. But it says you are forgers of lies, and that's what they have done also. Esau, Edom, they pushed out these lies. Now they the people of these different lands, the Egyptians. Napoleon. Yeah, Napoleon was a so-called black man. They were the ones that created all these different inventions. Y'all liars. Y'all didn't create nothing. Y'all were taught. You was even taught how to bathe and take care of yourself. You're a base people. And I'm gonna get this and end this off with what chapter is this? 40, I believe it was 41. And I forgot what I wanted out of this. But the Edomites that, smelled the coffee burning, they're complaining because of the ungodliness of what their forefathers have done. And we know who, through the Spirit, we know the ones of you that look like this man in other nations. We know of your spirit if you're an Israelite or an Edomite. You can't play that when it comes to us. With other camps, they ain't gonna give you a chance. With Great Millstone and like-minded camps, we try the spirits. So Surah 41, and I'm gonna give verse 7. The children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake. Right, and so they're being reproached for what their forefathers have done. Y'all got to pay their tab. If you're an Edomite, you got to pay their tab. You got to go through the captivity, for what your forefather done, because you are him. Just like we paid. Isaiah 14, I believe it's 21. Yeah, Isaiah 14 and 21. It says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. And that's what they have done. Why? Because they, I just had it. That's their blessing. It's the fatness of the earth. It's for them to be in all these different lands, all these different cities. That's their blessing. But, the slaughter is getting ready to come for them. And we're not going to do it. It's the Lord that's going to do it and take you down. The Lord's going to have World War III happen. The missile's going to be shot over here. And the third part of man is going to fall, which are the Edomites. And you wicked Israelites that don't want to get right, that's playing games, and you're going to be destroyed. And then the rest of the Edomites around the world, they're going to be taken into captivity when New Jerusalem comes down from heaven, and along with these other nations. So with that, I hope this is an edifying lesson. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Makakudash. Shalom.